evening. I'd like to call the January 21st meeting to order. I'd like everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Everyone please stay standing. We'd like to have a moment of silence for our late Water Department Head Bobby McKeon. Thank you. All right, so we have a full room tonight, so I just would like to remind everyone to please try not to block anyone. Those who are standing room, please don't block the entrance if you can. I just have to make a couple of quick announcements.
Don't take this out.
You said my left? Joey, said my left. Joey, I don't take that out.
Sign in right here.
Oh, it must be the easy for all the brothers here. What's up?
Yeah, you have work.
I think it's less.
It's the same.
Let's just see. Let's see where. We gotta go.
Thank you. Please take notice that the following meeting is rescheduled for the following date. Open holding and scheduled public hearing for January 28, 2025, and to accept written comment by January 28, 2025. Notice of public hearing is hereby given that the town board of the town of Fallsburg will continue the public hearing held open on December 17, 2024, on Tuesday, January 28, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall Meeting Room at 19 Railroad Plaza, South Fallsburg, New York, relative to Town of Fallsburg Local Law Number 1 of 2025, formerly designated as Local Law Number 5, Local Law of 2024, resolution of the Town of Fallsburg to amend the Town of Fallsburg Road Service and Towing Ordinance. Offer Local Law Number 1 of 2025 to provide for safe, orderly, and efficient road service and tow services for safety vehicles. And the Town of Fallsburg scheduling a public hearing. Next, please take notice that the following meeting has been canceled. Open holding and scheduled public hearing for January 21st, 2025, and to accept written comments by January 21st, 2025. Notice of public hearing is hereby given that the town board of the town of Fallsburg will continue the public hearing held open on December 17, 2024, on Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall Meeting Room at 19 Railroad Plaza, South Fallsburg, New York, relative to Town of Fallsburg Local Law Number 1 of 2025, formerly designated Local Law Number 5 of 2024, resolution of the Town of Fallsburg to amend the Town of Fallsburg Road Service and Towing Ordinance. Essentially, we were supposed to have the public hearing for the towing ordinance tonight, but we officially noticed that that's going to be pushed off to next week. So now to move on to tonight's public hearing. Legal notice of public hearing. Town of Fallsburg Town Board will conduct a public hearing at Town Hall, 19 Railroad Plaza, South Fallsburg, New York, at 6 p.m. on January 21st, 2025. The public may also participate in video conferences as follows. To conduct public hearing regarding amendments to the zoning code. The amendment is available at the town clerk's office for review. Should you have any questions with regard, please feel free to contact Fallsburg Town Clerk, Paula Grogan, by order of the Town of Fallsburg Town Board. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is passed. We are now opening the public hearing. Who is first that would like to speak on this matter tonight?
So I have three that were written.
Okay, so we have correspondence first that we're going to read into the record.
The first is from Rebecca Pratt, South Fallsburg. Dear esteemed town board members, as a former Fallsburg town clerk person and a comprehensive planning committee member, I would like to address a few key points regarding the proposed zoning changes for the town and the process of a public hearing. First and foremost, whenever the town board has a public hearing, it is kept open for at least a week or until the next legislative meeting to ensure that the board has heard and read the public comments to determine their vote. Why are you closing the public hearing and voting immediately after the public hearing? Can you please reconsider and keep the public hearing open for public comment and allow the time for you to read and listen to the public comments before you vote at the next legislative meeting? The proposed zoning change has great consequences to our town in the short and long term. I believe this deserves your time to consider what the short and long-term consequences are and how to proceed. The comprehensive plan is a guide. Town planning is a key to ensure sustainability development over the long term. The hamlets are the most densely populated areas with access to town water and sewer. As you move further away from the hamlets, the land use zoning is less densely populated and is not in the water sewer district. The agriculture district land use has the least density as it is furthest from the hamlets and the water and sewer district. There are also environmental considerations including sensitive lands, wetlands, streams, ponds, lakes, water tables, etc. We are currently in water sewer crisis in the most populated areas where the zoning laws are permissible to such density. To change the land use and zoning for the agriculture district to include densely populated housing development for anyone would be financially and operationally disastrous for the town regarding water, sewer, roads, and town services that are already challenged. Currently, the cost of infrastructure, including water, sewer, roads, and services, greatly exceeds the revenue. To change the zoning and the land use in the ag district is antithetical to common sense town-city planning recommended by town planners and engineers. The town board has fiduciary responsibilities to all residents and businesses in the town for the short and long term. Thus far, the lack of foresight has put the town residents and businesses in a precarious situation. The comprehensive plan was initiated by a former town board that selected 9 representatives from various communities in Fallsburg who were guided by environmental engineers and town planners. The town investigated significant resources, money, and time to ensure long-term sustainability and development. To change the land use in the agriculture district would undermine any investment made to ensure long-term sustainability development. I am speaking strictly to residential housing development of any kind, not to religious institutions or places of worship. I would ask the board to think about the future of our town and the cost and the consequences of the decisions you may be making for years to come. Please do not change the zoning and land use in the agriculture district. People live here year-round and come in the summer to enjoy the town of Fallsburg for its beauty, cultural diversity, nature, and community. We are diverse in many ways, and this is what makes Fallsburg a wonderful place to live. The town board is responsible to maintain the town operationally, fiscally, recreationally, and culturally for what this town has to offer to everyone living there. Thank you for your consideration. Best regards, Rebecca Pratt. The second one is from Carlos Solis Kaiser. Dear Supervisor Ben Simone and members of the town board, thank you for your opportunity to comment on the proposed zoning amendments as a resident of Fallsburg. I strongly support the planning board's recommendation to require special permits for houses of worship. Special permits are essential to ensure that these developments are thoughtfully evaluated for their impact on traffic, noise, infrastructure, and environment. Without the safeguard, our water, sewer, and emergency services already under strain will be further jeopardized. Increasing lighting, traffic, and noise also pose a significant risk to our protected wildlife and waterways. While I support building more affordable housing in our community, it must be guided by thoughtful planning. Good town planning creates good neighbors. Fallsburg's historic character and environmental significance as part of a major greenway in the North Corridor depends on balanced development. Special permits provide a fair, consistent process to address community concerns while respecting federal guidelines. I urge the board to adopt this recommendation, protect the qualities that make Fallsburg unique. Thank you for your attention and leadership. Sincerely, Carlos Solis Kaiser. The third one is from Herbert Perret. Dear Supervisor Mike Ben-Simone and Town Board members, my name is Herbert Perret and I am a resident of South Fallsburg. I am raising 2 children here and I am particularly concerned with the proposed zoning amendments and the damaging effects the revisions would create for the future of Fallsburg. The zoning amendments are an overcorrection of RLUIPA. RLUIPA does not specify schools, camps, or accessory structures as within the definition of a house of worship. That is common sense. Camps and schools may be sites where religiosity is summoned, but they are not houses of worship. For example, I attended Catholic school. I can definitely say a whole Catholic school isn't a place of worship, just the chapel at the school is. I'm also concerned because if a school wanted additional fees for the building of Fallsburg, they could claim religiosity that is impossible to check for. It would be put on the town board, planning board, and zoning board in the impossible position of determining what is religious use and what is not. For example, if a school said they quoted the Bible or the Quran frequently before the day begins, would that give them a leg up or a benefit in building there? Why should it? The new amendments would make the town beholden to granting their request, but as you can see, leaves out our town beholden to potential abuses of these amendments. I therefore request that the town revise these proposed amendments in a more coherent and legally prudent way. Sincerely, Herbert Perret of South Fallsburg. So I have an online request. I don't know if you want, they had a written request that they sent in. I don't know if you want to get into that now or later.
You can read it into the record now if you'd like.
I'm not reading it. He wanted to read it, but he sent it in this afternoon, so however you want to work that.
If the member of the public wants to read it themselves, then
Yeah.
they could, like any other member, read it. They might still be subject to the 3-minute limitation.
Oh, it's definitely gonna be okay, so you can go to him if you want.
You wanna go to him first, before you go to them?
Yeah, I mean, if everyone's okay with it, let's hear from that person first, and then we'll go based on your list.
David, could you unmute Kat?
Yes, thank you. This is a letter, this is a redacted version of a longer letter that I submitted to the town clerk earlier today. Dear Supervisor Ben-Simone and Fallsburg Town members, I am writing to respectfully request that the Fallsburg Town Board postpones the vote scheduled for today on proposed zoning amendments and leaves the public hearing open for an additional 30 days. I am particularly concerned that no public hearing on the amendments was scheduled prior to today, the same day as the vote to approve them. This obviously leaves no time to do consideration, including possible further investigation of issues that may be raised by members of the public during the hearing. I am also concerned that, based on the planned vote to approve the amendments, the town board appears ready to dismiss an alternative approach proposed by the planning board, again, without adequate opportunity for public input on the pros and cons of each. The issues raised by the proposed amendments are complex. Members of the community have substantive concerns about the wording of the amendments themselves, and the proposed zoning changes would radically alter permissible land use in Fallsburg. These factors more than justify a vetting process that is thorough, inclusive, and respectful of the public's right to provide input. For example, as currently worded, the amendments would allow significant expansions in zoning, particularly regarding multifamily dwellings and religious uses that appear to go far beyond the scope required for compliance with the federal and state laws, particularly LUPA, the amendments were purportedly meant to address. Additionally, the New York State DEC has advised that amendments to zoning codes, such as proposed here, should be the subject of a generic environmental impact statement rather than a short-form environmental assessment filed by the town. The proposed expansion of non-conforming uses are likely to cause significant increases in density and environmental impacts to traffic, water supply, sewer capacity, noise, and community character. Therefore, the proposed amendments call for a generic EIS, further supporting a delay in voting on the amendments. There are also serious concerns, as have already been made, about the scope of that the town's zoning law or its enforcement of the law violates RLUIPA requirements. The board should be aware that RLUIPA has been repeatedly abused by developers who claim outsized advantage in land use and zoning decisions. I'm convinced that, given adequate time for deliberation, consultation, and review, the town can craft amendments that both comply with federal and state law and, at the same time, preserve our natural resource infrastructure, protect the health and safety of Fallsburg residents, and safeguard the rural nature of our town. I am hoping the board will do everything in its power to ensure a truly deliberative process by postponing the vote on Resolution 13 of 2025 and leaving the public hearing open for 30 more days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kantz. Anyone, let's go down.
So the first person up would be Abe Retner. I just need you to stand up here, Mr. Retner.
Okay, I'm the one that actually sent a letter to the town, and basically, we did check with legal advice, including the town attorneys agreed that the current zoning, which was changed a couple years ago for religious institutions could be a yeshiva because it's continuous education from the winter time. They come here in the summer, but it's still the same yeshiva. And by enacting those zoning regulations are clearly against the LUPA. In fact, in the town of Warwisink, where they tried to do similar laws to the town of Fallsburg, the religious institutions, which were few, went to court. Guess what? Not only it was settled in a few months and it was all reversed, they got settlements for hundreds of thousands of dollars. What I'm trying to say is, it's clear as the day that this law is against the law. So now, we're not talking about new houses. So people say development. No, we're not talking about development. We're talking about camps that are here for 100 years, religious institutions that are here for 100 years to 50 years. They are here. They were downzoned a couple years ago with the excuse of non-conforming use and made it impossible for them to exist because they want to upgrade their infrastructure. It gets dilapidated. They want to upgrade it to code. They have a fire. They have this. They have that. It's impossible to exist like this. So yes, so we're not talking about new development. Let's not go to new development because this is not about new development. In fact, we agree with the planning board that this should be for a new use in an ag district should be a special use. No one disagrees with that. Everybody agrees with it. What we are talking about is existing people that are here, institutions that are here, that were discriminated against for years. These places need to be, the laws of the land has to be followed, the town of Fallsburg as the land of the law. So, we're all asking one thing, please, the town board, we appreciate you listening to us, we appreciate the attorneys to looking into it, and we are all asking one thing, just follow RLUIPA law. That's all we are asking. We are asking that all the religious institutions that are here currently right now should be able to exist and thrive in this town. That's all we're asking for, and of course, I agree that the public hearing shouldn't have been at the same day of the vote. I don't know why it was. The public hearing, the public should say their input. I 100% agree. I agree with the planning board. And again, this intention is not about new development at all. This is all about existing places that are here for years and they were discriminated against. Thank you.
Murphy Adams.
There I go. Good evening. My name is Mary Adams, and I'm representing the Loch Sheldrake Advocate Group, and we have some concerns. This is my letter to Mike Benjamin and Town Board. Thank you for considering our concerns about the proposed zoning code amendments. We understand that the town must be in compliance with this federal statute, and what concerns us is that we make our zoning code more compliant, and we also should be taking into consideration the long-term health of our town. This is not about people. It is about land use and long-term economics. Running a town is like running a corporation. When we make zoning laws and changes, we have to consider the economic consequences. For instance, if more density is allowed in ag districts, it does not support what has been set as guidelines in our comprehensive plan. And you can look at the comprehensive plan under section 321, and you'll hear how that zoning has been clarified in that document. Ag districts were formed due to quality of soil for farming. Ag designation is not arbitrary. It is because soil is rich and open space good for farming. We need ag districts for farming. Also, much of the ag districts are outside town and water sewer. This means more packaged plants. You have heard me talk about packaged plants. Packaged plants, if you don't know, are private sewer systems that private developments or groups can buy. In Westchester, they work great, but they work great because they have constant maintenance. It takes a lot of work. They are full of different mechanical things that can break down. When they break down, they overflow. We have bungalow colonies happening right now where their packaged plants are not working and they are overflowing. And they're overflowing into our streams and they affect the quality of water flowing through people's private properties. So I just want to say that we really need to watch this change because it will allow certain usage, and I heard the gentleman talk about bungalows, and we want to be able to affirm the bungalow collapse. I want to say from the work I've done here in the last 3 or 4 years, bungalow colonies, a lot of them, old ones in particular, are fire hazards. They are big fire hazards, and if we were going to have a fire, it would affect all of us, not just the bungalow colony. So no, I think we really need to take time to look at this and make an extended open window for this public hearing for 30 days so that we can look at how we can do this in a way that is compliant, but also safe and good for the health of our town. So,
Your time's up now.
thank you.
Jacob Fetter.
Hi, good evening, all. My name is Jacob Fetter. Dear esteemed members of the board, thank you for your dedication and tireless efforts in ensuring that our town remains a place where all residents feel treated equally, fairly, and with respect. Your commitment to improving and working for the betterment of our community is greatly appreciated. Tonight, I stand before you to support a critical zoning amendment to address the restrictions placed on religious institutions classified as non-conforming uses. These zoning laws have created significant hardships for institutions like ours, holding back growth, slowing progress, limiting services, and in some cases preventing recovery from disasters. A personal example of hardship. In my case, this hardship became clear after a devastating fire in 2018 destroyed 12 units within our religious institution. We worked diligently to rebuild, not just to restore what was lost, but to comply with updated building codes for safety, such as adding fire hydrants, improving access roads, and meeting modern setbacks, etc. However, because our institution is classified as a non-conforming use, rebuilding was not straightforward. Instead, we endured a lengthy, grueling process through the ZBA Zoning Board of Appeals, seeking variances for conditions already present on the property. The variances requested were not exceptions to zoning laws, but efforts to comply while addressing unfair restrictions. This process took 5 years with huge financial and emotional cost for our institution and the community. An evidence of struggle. Let me highlight our struggle with a direct quote from the Planning Board meeting minutes on June 8, 2023. Chairman said, quote, "We have been over and over this one." The town engineer explained, quote, "Just for context, because this has been going on for a while, this is a 90-unit bungalow colony, of which 12 were destroyed by a fire in 2018. Because it's a non-conforming use, the applicant faced a long process to replace the destroyed units with duplexes, which are allowable in the zoning district. The town asked for a master plan, which delayed things further. Finally, after the site visit, after 5 years and some variances, we at the town realized that it would just make more sense to address only the 12 units lost by fire. Now, despite complying with the town's requests, we faced constant delays. This is an example of how unfair rules can harm those they were meant to serve. A need for change. This system must change. Religious institutions, which play vital roles in their communities and contribute to the taxes, should not be penalized by unlawful zoning laws. Our 5-year struggle was not self-created. It was caused by zoning policies that failed to recognize the existence and contributions of these institutions. This drawn-out process.
I'm sorry, time is up.
Half a minute.
You
Our
have to follow,
process
I'm sorry, you have to follow the rules because we have too many people. Thank you. Manny Steinberg.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Manny Steinberg. I'm a member of, there's a community in Liberty, a couple hundred families. I moved up here to Sullivan County about 5-6 years ago. Many in this room know me as a member of the planning board of the town of Liberty. I've been on the planning board of the town of Liberty for the past 2 years. First, before I forget, I want to thank Jen for opening this room earlier than she let us in.
Paula, this is Jen.
Oh, sorry.
We get mixed up all the time.
I apologize. Probably told me this was Jen. But I want to thank you for opening the door earlier because it's cold outside. So yes, I've been on the planning board for the past few years, and just, everybody in this room knows planning boards don't get to change rules or make rules. Planning boards have to follow the rules in the town code. And when we put a community member on the board, it creates a vibe of us instead of it's us against them. It's, we're all in this town. For me, it's Liberty, but I'm saying in the community, in Sullivan County, we all live here together and we all have to work together. In Liberty, we do allow expansion of non-conforming use. And I know some people would like to imply that by allowing non-conforming to expand, it's going to explode and people are going to expand and it's going to start looking like certain communities in Orange County. But that is not the case because it's been on the books for many years now that Liberty allows to expand non-conforming use. And it actually, as a planning board member, it turned out very well allowing non-conforming use to expand because a lot of these bungalow colonies, they just want to add a community room or a day camp or a classroom. And then when they come before the board, we have the opportunity to tell them, hey, you have a parking situation, people are parking on the road, fix it, put some more spots. We send everything to the fire department, they always come back, why don't you make wider the left access you have? There's so many opportunities to allow the non-conforming use to be more in conformance with the community. I'm sorry, I apologize. So, that's all I have to say. I want to thank everybody I want to thank the council for considering, making it better for RLUIPA, and RLUIPA should have been, people think RLUIPA is a benefit for religious uses. The problem is that a lot of people weaponize real issues. Towns have issues with water, towns have issues with traffic, towns have issues with noise, and we all live in this town. Nobody wants traffic, nobody wants noise, everybody wants water. But when people use it as a weapon to stop somebody from growing, that's when it becomes a problem. So I want to thank all the elected officials for doing the right thing for everybody in the community.
So the next person on the list, I think it might be somebody I already read for, Herbie.
Oh, yeah, I'm here, but you already read my letter,
Okay, so I'm gonna
thank you.
take you off the list. Joel Brewer.
Thanks for having us today. We appreciate your work in the town. I'm just here to address being a resident here in the town for the past 85 years. I have my own family now. I started out my own family just about 15 years ago, planning out to have children. And I have now 8 children, and I've outgrown my little house a long time ago. And just the fact that we're practicing religious gives us certain limitations that we have to be within a certain community. That's considered the basic needs that we have, and that we can't strive without. Being with this new zoning restrictions makes it literally impossible for us to survive. And we feel that being a very discriminating change in zone, the fact that we can't not just expand, but we can't even survive. I mean, telling for some children that they can't come because we don't have room for them, and we need to send them somewhere else just because we can't expand or we can't, there's no facility for them. It's a very, it's something that we consider being really discriminating, and we're not asking for anything crazy. We're just interested in being able to practice our religious, and then we're not trying to use it in any abusive way. We're just trying to have the normal facility that we're being given all over the place, and we feel that here, in a certain way, we're not being respected in that way, and that makes us feel basically discriminated, and puts us in a position that we just can't survive, and we're being pushed out of the community, basically, in a very nice way, said, there's no place for you here. So we would like to ask the board to consider that, and to basically respect the board that works for the town, and we participate with that, and we understand that there are some challenges that need to be addressed, but the overall, we understand that there should be a certain room to address that to give us the minimum that we need to be able to survive and to be able to continue being part of this community. Thank you.
Moses Friedman. I'll just call you again. Moses Friedman.
Hello, my name is Moses Friedman. I've been with town for about 25 years. I just want to make 2 comments. I mentioned the Talmud says that we have to pray and we have to honor the peaceful in government, because without government we wouldn't survive. And I appreciate the town board and everybody together being in such a peaceful room with